Audrey, can you put the Among Us sound right there?
Ignore what Nick said. Audrey, can you, when I said, they picked one of us off, can you layer my voice like 7 times? One of us got picked off.
Hi, welcome back to Logline. We are here today to do a podcast.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm here with me, whose name is Nick, and that guy over there is Don Julio himself.
It's me.
Yep. And our guests are 199.1 host on the air.
What the hell are you talking about?
BJ Love.
Coming in smooth.
Bri Love. And we've got one lead gaffer.
Many people are saying.
Many people are saying this. Matthew Zwinger.
Hello.
Oh, great. Fantastic. So just as a reminder, this podcast is called Logline, and we take an idea or concept that you have, and we just run with it for an hour and hope that we come up with something good. And then at the end, we come up with a logline and a title.
See, the good thing is we don't have to hope because it's always good.
And that's a guarantee. Great.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here. Okay.
Do you guys have any keywords, things that have been on your mind that you kind of want to think about more in a vocal manner?
Well, the idea that I had that Matthew didn't like.
What do you mean? It's a great idea.
I said that because I was crocheting earlier, and I was thinking, what if there's a grandma who crocheted, and she had to fight villains, super villains,
Okay.
and whatever she crocheted came to life, and they fought the evil villains for her.
Ooh.
Right.
And she would like super crochet.
Okay.
I can see the gears turning over there.
The gears are turning.
It's okay, you can veto it.
We're not vetoing anything. We are just putting it all together, you know? Really.
So who are these bad people exactly that the crochet things are fighting?
Scissors.
Scissors.
Okay, so is this like stop motion animated?
It could be.
I see this as like claymation right off the bat.
Claymation?
I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there yarnmation? Is that a thing?
Yarnmation.
There is yarnmation.
Ooh, wait, that would actually be really
Because
cool.
it's crocheting.
There is yarnmation. So there's this one animation that I've seen that's like, I don't think it's actual yarn. It might be stop motion though, where it's like this little dinosaur guy and he's crocheted, and it's like a love story between a dinosaur and a little fox that's crocheted, and the fox starts to drown, so the dinosaur tries to save her, but he has to like give himself an anchor like when you're climbing, because he's like across a room. So he unties his tail a little bit and puts it around a nail to anchor himself back, and then he has to run to try to save her. But then by the time he gets there, he's only like an arm and a head because he's been unwound all the way, and then he like brings her all the way back, but then he has nothing left. And then the last shot is her sitting there crocheting him back together.
That's cute.
Wow.
Can we top that? Like,
I don't know.
That's already pretty good.
That is already pretty good. I'm not sure that we can top that one. Anyway, so we have evil scissors.
Evil scissors
Mm-hmm.
and other utensils that can destroy yarn.
Right.
Scissor is like the overlord. It's like it's like a big evil scissor.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Bizzer. Bizzer, the big scissor.
Bizzer the big scissor.
Is it spelled with S's or Z's?
Ooh. Z's.
Yeah.
Because we have one
Z-Tex.
Z-Tex.
Working on this film.
Eric Gunnison ruined my life in 30 seconds. Walking to the post suites.
Fantastic.
That nickname.
So we need some story beats. So where do we start? Where do our characters?
Well, where do her powers come from?
Love.
So the woman who crochets them is so full of love for her creations
Yeah.
that they come alive. Okay.
Interesting.
Does she know they're alive,
This
or
is
is it
very
like
wholesome.
is it some Toy Story shit where they don't know?
Do they have to play dead?
Yeah, they had to play dead.
She comes around.
No, I feel like like Doc McScruffins.
No.
I know Duck.
Sounds
McScrooge.
awesome though.
Right.
It's a kid's show where this kid is a doctor
Yeah.
and she fixes up her little animal buds and they come to life.
Yeah.
Her little toys that she fixes up as she fixes them, but they're actually toys. But she sees them
Right.
Oh, okay.
as she's doctoring them.
Can other people see them?
I don't know.
Is this a hallucination?
Could be.
That would be a real plot twist halfway through the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Halfway through.
Actually, none of this happened. It's all in her head. Then it
So-
becomes a
It's like-
horror,
yeah,
psychological
it's
horror,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do like a major like genre shift.
and visual shift because
And
it's no
visual
longer yarnmation.
Yeah.
The first half is made for kids. The second half is rated R.
So when you upload this to YouTube and that you have to select made for kids, you can be like, yeah, until like
This timestamp.
this time, Sam, then no kid should ever be watching
Then it
this.
should not be on YouTube.
Yeah.
You have to upload it in like 2 parts.
Right. Okay.
that-
It could be 2 movies
Yeah.
released like 10 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of interesting though if you kind of intercut between like what this person thinks is happening and like reality
Mm-hmm.
potentially, because then you could have like the animated part and then like the reality bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dystopian kind of thing where they're drugged.
Mm.
Interesting.
And the-
okay. They're right. They're drugged.
I was thinking more like a form of escapism, right?
So is this like set
Oh,
in
yeah.
the way future where like everything is sand? Is this like Ready Player
Is
One?
this- I was just gonna say Dune. If everything's sand.
It's all sand.
It's all Dune. We're
It's all
back to Dune every time.
Oh, is this a reoccurring theme? In the podcast?
Timothy Chalamet is.
Timothy Chalamet is, yeah.
God bless his soul.
God bless
his
his
small,
soul.
small, skinny,
Sickly.
under. What a soul.
What a soul he has.
We're in Dune.
We're in Dune.
Okay. We're in Dune with
Well,
Evil scissors.
a woman.
Wait,
who
all right. I feel like-
crochets.
I feel like we may have lost sight of the goal here a
Okay.
little bit because
Well, what
right
is the
now we
goal?
are cross-cutting between psych horror and children's animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of awesome. You
Well,
gotta
I will say, I'm not super squeamish. So there's not anything that I like usually can't handle. The one piece of media that I'm just like that isn't just like straight gore, that I just like cannot watch is that one claymation Simpsons animation where Homer goes insane and murders the entire family. It's really fucked up, but it's in like children's claymation style. I cannot watch it. I can't do it.
Sounds
So
terrifying.
it is terrifying. Go look it up, watch it once, never watch it again. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. We're making one of those. Except they're crocheted.
Oh, so is it kind of like "Don't hug me, I'm scared"? Like that?
Yeah,
kind of vibe?
that type of vibe.
Yeah.
But
Like
the
not
Simps-
actually children's.
Yeah. The Simpsons one specifically for me was just like this is like crazy. And just like the context of it. I can't watch it again. It really punched me in the gut.
A gut puncher,
A gut puncher.
which is the opposite of a knee slapper.
Well, I think they're like adjacent.
They're both violent, but emotion-wise,
They're like distant cousins.
So
Yeah.
okay, so on that note, we have this woman
Yeah.
who crochets animals, crochets shapes,
Anything.
Okay. Well, I think having recognizable characters is important. So, what do you think our characters should be?
The
Our crocheted
crocheted.
characters, yeah.
I feel like people. If we're going for like a psychological thriller where she's trying to like escape, what's she
Mhm.
trying to escape from?
Ooh.
Like, is it actually a dystopia where like everything is sand? Is she in Dune? Is she in Dune?
So she
Right.
copes with the stress.
Yeah. 'Cause I was thinking people.
She's trying to escape from people.
No, well, I was thinking that she's like isolated, and not by her own choosing. So she's making people
She's like a
to,
prisoner.
talk with.
It looks like Matthew Zwinger has an idea.
Yeah. So
Pass the hot mic.
Now this is getting a little bit darker than children's animation.
That's okay. We already
Oh,
went.
good.
But yeah, I guess we're already past that. But like, what if instead of a dystopia, it's more of like her situation in life? Like, she doesn't have to be on a sand planet to be in a bad place.
This is true.
What if she lost people close to her, and she tries to replace them through crochet?
Interesting. So these are people that she has lost, and then crochets them so that they can be alive again.
Yeah, but maybe it's not exactly.
But
Them.
they're little like I don't know, like are they like perfect versions of that person? But through crochet, but they can't like talk, and they can kind of emote, but like only through like movement.
It's like Legos.
Yeah,
I like kind of see it as like she's desperately trying to get back the people she lost,
I see.
and it doesn't exactly pay off.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't come through in the way that she wanted. Maybe.
Okay, so this is leading me to an even if we're going full horror, this is leading me to end of the film. We find out these are the people she's been murdering,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's trying to. She like doesn't fully realize that she's killing these people, or like doesn't really fully want to, but she's doing it, and then she's trying to get them back by making these little crochet.
So is
Dudes.
she? Imagine this. She kills them,
Yeah.
and then she uses parts of their bodies
Oh my god.
to create the yarn.
So I was going to ask this earlier. I said, is the yarn like actual yarn, or is it like flesh and like body parts?
And so,
we are
like-
getting into some Cronenberg.
Yeah, this is Cronenberg right here. Yeah.
Maybe this woman is like bald, and she kills them for their hair, which she then turns into these.
So she crochets her
Crochet.
own hair.
She doesn't have any hair,
Oh,
and she's
she wants hair.
insane, and she wants hair, so she kills people to take their hair. And
Yeah.
then turns that hair into crochet. Crochet creature.
Interesting.
Just an idea.
My roommate has talked about doing that with my hair.
Killing you and then taking.
No, just
Your-
like taking my hair
And then
out
creating
of my
sentient-
brush
Mm.
and then knitting it into a hat for me.
Holy shit. That would be fucking.
That's like the SpongeBob episode where he's like, "I made you this sweater from my tears."
Oh.
Yeah, now I hide my hairbrush. So
Okay, great.
Pray it's actually gonna happen. Wake up one day. Wait, where did all the hair from my hairbrush go?
so anyways, Granny Applebottom.
That's her name.
That's her name.
Granny Applebottom.
Is she related to Johnny Appleseed by chance?
Or Granny Smith.
Granny Smith Apple.
Wait. Hold on. Is our horror movie now Apple themed?
Apple juice, apple cider, apple pie.
Right. Everything is Apple themed.
Yeah.
Apples.
But why is it Apple themed? What end?
They're scary as hell. Scary. Apples are scary, man.
You're not scared of apples?
Terrifying.
Okay, so she crochets people that she kills out of their hair after she kills them.
Yeah.
And then are these little dudes, are they like animated versions of those people that like communicate with her? Like, do they talk? Do they just like do the classic thing where toys are just like they're animated, but they just make like noises maybe, but they don't necessarily speak? Like what I want to flesh out the actual little.
I feel like as she gets more unhinged is when they'd start talking to her more.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, it's like she starts off, the first one's like, oh, it's a mistake. She accidentally killed them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were going apple picking and she bumps the ladder and they falls off the ladder
Yeah.
dead, right? She's like, fuck, I gotta hide this. And
I see. Okay.
that's where it starts.
So she's a humble apple shepherd.
Yeah, and then she starts so then she kills them.
Owns an orchard.
Yeah, she invites them to go apple picking.
That's how she lures
That's
them
how
in.
she lures them in.
That's how she picks her victims. People come in to buy apples and
Yeah.
shit.
And if they buy the wrong
you got some
apple,
nice hair.
they buy the wrong apple. And
Yeah. There's 2 criteria for her to kill them. They buy the wrong apple and, oh, nice hair. She'd be like,
It's a bad apple. Nice hair though.
Great. Okay. So let's talk about actual, like how the story plays out, like actual plot elements. So we start off, when is it revealed that she's like a killer? How far in are we revealing that?
I think it shouldn't be that she's necessarily bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
But it's more that she accidentally kills someone.
Yeah.
And then slowly loses control of the situation as she loses her grip on reality.
So is that inciting incident, that the very first one, happening like 5 minutes in? Or is that what
I'd
starts the
say-
film? Do we start the film, we're in the apple orchard, someone gets hit by an apple, falls off, dies, and we're just right into it?
No, I think you need a little
Yeah.
exposition.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you need some time
Okay.
But yeah, near the start, I'd say.
to establish that she crochets.
We've just established that she crochets as well, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of characters are there going to be in the orchard? 'Cause I feel like while we're talking about the introduction, what other characters are we going to introduce in the beginning?
I feel like there's got to be a small child that works at the orchard, because he lives down the road.
Yeah. And he like finds the crochet things.
Yeah.
Oh, so can we do this through the perspective of that child as he's discovering these things?
Ooh.
Like hardcore Henry?
I was just going to say hardcore Henry who?
Okay, so so it's this little kid's perspective, or maybe that can be like the midpoint of the film. It switches to the kid's perspective, so we establish everything that Granny Smith does, or whatever her name was. I don't remember. Granny Applebottom.
And how old is Granny Applebottom?
57 years and 2 months. Born in the month of October.
A Libra.
Yep.
Libra gang. Let's go. Shout out Libras.
Um, so, okay, 57 and 2 months. Very important. Remember that.
I feel like she needs grandkids.
Is it the grandkid who works there and helps her out and
It could be.
discovers
And
these
that
things?
grandkid is going to die at some point.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is this like a group protagonist film in which there are like 7 grandchildren? And they like slowly get picked off?
Emphasis on picked off.
And they all have
Off the mic after that.
all their names are like apple themed.
Apple names, yeah.
Right? So they've
Because-
got like Honeycrisp,
Yeah.
Gala, Pink Delicious.
That's
Mm.
I was thinking about saying Red Delicious, and I was like, I don't want to name a child Red Delicious.
Okay, so they're each an apple because here's some lore. Granny Applebottom has like built this orchard up from nothing and has become the largest apple provider in the southwest quadrant of
Scandinavia.
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 No, I like Missouri. That's good.
I was gonna say Kansas. Missouri works
Kansas.
too.
Missouri's
Missouri.
good.
Okay. So
We can
largest apple provider in southwest Missouri. And quite an empire.
What
Let
time
me say.
period?
Ooh. I think this should be pre like mobile phone.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm thinking like
I was going to say like Dust Bowl Depression era.
That would be
ooh,
cool.
Ooh.
okay.
Yeah.
So it actually means a lot that she can grow all these apples and sell them because she actually has a successful business, whereas
Yeah.
most people don't. But also most people
People
are
come
dirt
from
poor.
all over.
Yeah, people come from all over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like 30s, 1930s. Okay. So it's the 1930s, and that means all the grandchildren will be wearing 1930s garb. which I think really fits in with our setting here.
And maybe they don't have parents, so as they each get picked off, the parents like don't notice because they're not there.
They're dead.
Because they're dead. Fantastic.
So because
Right?
because
I was
she
just-
killed the parents,
Oh.
right?
And that's not revealed until after.
She killed them, and then she took them in and gaslit the children.
All right, so this lady's doing a whole lot of murder, and we do not have any motivation.
I
do
was
have to
okay.
say.
So I was gonna
Because she
say.
wants her hair.
I was gonna say to backtrack. Maybe the parents. It still is common, but it was very common then that parents would like send their kids to the grandparents' place for the summer, for the entire summer.
Yeah.
That's what my dad did. That's what my grandparents did. So that maybe the parents are like, okay, we're sending our kids off to the orchard for the summer to work, because it's the 30s, right? So it's not like they probably can't afford to hire anybody, so they just get people in the family to work, right? So they send the 7 grandchildren there to work, and in doing that, that's when they start, that's the reason why they're there.
Yeah.
And then it turns out the grandma's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she can't just be murdering these kids because she's insane. Like, what? What is?
'Cause she wants
why
their
does
hair.
She want to kill them so bad.
Well, if it's a horror movie, it could just be like a supernatural influence kind of motive.
Yeah.
She was taken over
I agree.
by
We should figure that out.
the Apple King.
Apple King.
The Apple King.
Ooh, we're getting some.
There's an
lore
apple
here.
curse.
I like it.
So
Apple
she's been
curse.
growing apples, right? But this is like pre-GMO. So maybe she's like experimenting. How can I make my apples bigger and juicier? So she starts like breeding apples, and she's been working on this. It's her life's work. She's like, what'd she say? She's in her 50s?
57 in 2 months.
57? I mean, that's like pretty old in the 30s, right?
She was born in October.
She's born in October.
Yeah.
Her life's work has been trying to like make the perfect apple. And in doing so, there have been a lot of apples that have gone wrong.
The apple gods are mad.
The apple gods are mad, and so she has created these like very poisonous, rotten apples, but they look like normal apples. And it turns out that's where the supernatural element is. She's been making all these apples, and of course, to know whether or not they're bad, she has to take a bite.
Oh, it's slowly corrupting
And
her.
it's slowly turning her more and more rotten.
So does she sell these apples to people? As she's like rotten enough, does she
Maybe
start selling them?
Maybe
to
toward
other
the
people?
end, yeah. I think initially she's like, no, this isn't good. Like, I'm trying to make the perfect apple.
Yeah.
So she just like toss them or throw them away or whatever. Which maybe that can come back as like the birds were eating them or something, and they've become corrupted.
Oh.
Let's set up a scene.
And the worms.
Yeah.
Too. The
And
worms
the
are
worms.
corrupted.
Worms.
Because of course everyone knows worms love apples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's slowly becoming corrupted, but maybe initially she's not as bad.
Yeah.
But because it's a whole summer, there can be a transition through time where she's getting worse and worse and worse over that summer.
I also now am more fond of the idea of telling it from the perspective of the kids,
Yeah.
because then it's kind of like a not quite a mystery, but like you're trying to figure out who is the person that's like kind of creepy, because you know it's a horror movie when you go and see it. Like, who's this person that's going to be creepy? Who's the person responsible
Now,
for the
which-
creepy shit that's happening?
The when I think of like an ensemble type or group protagonist movie with a bunch of kids, I usually think that it should either be told from the perspective of the oldest or the youngest. Because though that will be most likely the final character that's left
Yeah.
by the end of the story. And if you do it from the oldest, then the oldest can like be trying to protect everyone but can't.
And we can cast Timothy Chalamet.
We got to put him on a diet again, I think, Nick. Make him small enough.
Otherwise, if you do it from the perspective of the youngest, that's helplessness. The youngest can't do anything about it.
Yeah. And they're just witnessing everything through innocent eyes.
Yes. So I guess which do you think is better for this tale?
I think that kind of depends. Is this live action still, or are we doing the crochet animation?
That's true.
Oh, yeah, we got so focused on apples, we kind of forgot about the whole crochet.
Okay, so is this still stop motion?
Because if it's stop motion, I'd lean towards the youngest.
Right. Because then you just need a voice actor. It's not as bad. Okay, well, it's up to you guys. Do you want stop motion animation? Do you want 2D animation? Do you want live action? Do you want what are you looking for? Claymation?
I don't know, Bri, it's your idea that we have twisted here. So
I feel like some 2D animation with like some weird like claymation mixed in.
Okay, have you seen Smiling Friends?
I have, yeah. Like that.
3D Squelden?
Yeah.
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 That's
Ooh, I like that. I think that would also be very like appropriate.
Smiling Friends is a I think it's Comedy Central animated series. It's like 8 episodes that came out recently, but people really like it because it's like it's not as nihilistic as a lot of Comedy Central comedy shows.
Yeah.
But one thing that they do is they will it's a 2D animated show, but they will regularly incorporate characters that are just in vastly different animation styles.
Oh, cool.
So there's one episode with a character called 3D Squelden, and he's just this baby alien that is like 3D claymated, but he's in the 2D animated world.
It's weird.
And so it's really stark. You're like, holy shit. And he calls himself 3D Squelden.
Yeah.
Is it kind of scary? Because I feel like that would be kind of scary.
It's like
It's
a little
off-putting.
off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off-putting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So you're thinking 2D animated, but then with elements that are stop motion?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
really cool.
Because I think the other thing that can do is stop motion has very jerkiness, right, to it. And that can be off-putting when contrasted with smooth 2D animation.
Exactly. Makes it more horror-like.
Yeah.
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 I like that.
Okay, so we have 7 characters. Do we want to talk about who we're casting for each one of them?
Are we actually going to have 7 grandchildren?
I think 7's a good number.
So that's 8 with Granny Applebottom.
Because then if this is a feature and we're running roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours, that gives each character in Act 2, as they get picked off, like 5 to 7 minutes until we get whittled down to the last one. Maybe 10 minutes until we get whittled down to the last one.
Yeah.
But
And
like
then
if we
Act
have
3.
If we have 7 characters, like we're really only going to be able to make the audience care about like 2 or 3 of them.
That's
know?
my main concern
Yeah.
with it. That like, how do we make them different enough, and how do we make people care enough?
Fair. I'm just thinking, like, you look at a movie like The Sound of Music. There's 7 of them, right?
No, I'm not against 7. I'm just saying we'd have to pick like a couple to
Yeah.
be like the main ones.
Yeah.
I think, and then the rest are more canon foddery.
Okay.
Have you guys seen House?
The show?
The Japanese movie
Oh.
from like
Oh.
50, what is it from, like 50, 60 something?
I think 60s or 70s.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. It's fucking wild. But this reminds me of that because there's like 8 or so characters. It's a horror movie where they get picked off one by one, and they get differentiated pretty well. But they have some really absurd like intro where they like introduce all of them. It's like really campy, just like nothing like you've ever seen before. At least I haven't seen anything like before. We could do something like that.
We could
where, like, we actually
introduce
introduce them.
all of the kids through a commercial that Granny Applebottom puts on for her apple orchard.
The apple orchard, yeah.
To advertise it for the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You could animate that like Cuphead style too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
That would be, because it's the 30s, right?
Yeah.
So that would be the style of the 30s, is like rubber hose animation. So you could do rubber hose animation ad, and it introduces each of them. And then, of course, because it's animation, we can make each of them look distinct enough that they're differentiated from each other. Now, of course, when you have 7, there's got to be twins,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
naturally.
Yeah.
naturally. And
Do triplets even. Quadruplets.
Quintuplets?
Sextuplets.
Septuplets. All 7
all-
of them.
So they all are actually identical. we don't know who is who the entire movie. Oh, Jimmy got picked up.
Maybe
I was
that's
gonna say we just don't.
No,
give
I'm Jimmy.
names either.
yeah.
Nameless children.
that's the mystery, is
look
they
the same.
can't tell who's being killed.
And they all speak in unison. One of us got picked up.
There's an imposter
Audrey,
among
can you
us.
please?
Honestly, that's where my mind went as soon as they're getting picked off one by one. We're gonna hold an emergency
man.
meeting.
Audrey, can you put the Among Us sound right there?
Ignore what Nick said. Audrey, can you? When I said they picked one of us off. Can you layer my voice like 7 times? One of us got picked off. Thanks.
Great. Okay. Well, I think we can make them each distinct enough, but I think the commercial is a great way to introduce all of them because maybe they each have like a distinct role on the farm, or maybe they
they're
each
all a different
specialize
apple.
in one apple. Yeah. Interesting.
I don't have anything. I'm just gasping.
Oh.
Gasps. Great. Okay. So we've established we are animated with all the horror elements are like a weird, jittery stop motion claymation or stop motion like actual crochet animation.
I feel like claymation.
Yeah.
Because we can still have the crochet dudes like be stop motion animated.
That's true.
So
Well, how does crochet play in all this again? Honestly, I've forgotten at this point.
the grandmother is killing people for their hair to crochet them. Maybe the rotten apples are making her kill people so that they can inhabit
Have hair.
like a voodoo doll. They can inhabit the body.
The core of the apple
Yeah.
is the core is our heart. The crocheted hearts.
Yeah.
That's the heart.
So the grandma has to kill them and then make their little crochet voodoo doll, and then the apple becomes the heart of their dead body and then resurrects them.
That-
And then they're like an evil, because they're already based on apples, right? All the people.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that like the evil apple would corrupt them and make them rotten.
What if she's unsatisfied with the productivity of the kids? So she's like, I can make a better version of them.
She's trying to make
Oh.
a perfect workforce.
Oh, they like one of the kids I really like this. It's like one of the kids disappears and then they come back as like as a different animation style,
Yeah.
like stop motion or claymation, and all the other kids are like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Their eyes just. He's like, I will work now.
I will pick apples.
And then picks 2D apples as a 3D claymated dude.
Holy
Drops
shit!
them in a basket. Oh, that's good. Okay. So yeah, so she's unsatisfied because of course they're kids. They don't want to be there for the summer. They don't want to work all summer in the hot summer. I mean, it's Missouri, so it's hot, it's humid. They don't want to be there. So then their grandma's like, back in my day, we would work from sunrise to sunset. And so the kids are like, classic generational like tension. Kids are like, we don't want to work. And she's like, okay, well, I'll make you work. And that's why she's trying to develop this perfect apple, because it increases productivity.
Mm.
And then we can have a sequel in which she does make the perfect apple. And that is what makes us win World War II.
So instead of giving all the soldiers like speed,
Yeah. They have this perfect apple.
we can canonize history to be like, no, it was actually like cool apples
Yeah.
that made them. We fed them.
And they made the soldiers never have to sleep.
Is this a war movie?
It's a war movie. I'm just setting up for the sequel, okay, for longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sells all of her apples to the soldiers
To support the war
to
effort.
support the war effort. Yeah.
Mm. I like that. It could also be that the Dust Bowl was planned by the government, but all other businesses out of business.
Yep.
That's what happens to businesses. So they're out of business. I don't actually know what the motivation there would be, but they
For the government
to do that,
Do they
planning
need
the Dust
motivation?
Bowl.
planning the Dust Bowl. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, because she's making the super cool apples that make soldiers like better
Yeah.
at killing people, right?
It's
Yeah.
because they caught wind of what she was trying to do, and they didn't want her to be the most powerful apple grower in the
Yes.
States.
In southwest Missouri.
And so they
So they caused an irrevocable environmental catastrophe
Yes.
Yeah.
that largely affected lands west.
They miscalculated.
Maybe they were aiming for Missouri, and then they're just like, "Whoops!"
Something slipped, and
Some sequence where they got this big satellite crosshair on them, and then
But because it's the 30s, they didn't account for wind. They're like, uh-oh.
they're up in their B-49 bomber. The B-49 bomber, you know.
Yes, I'm
Is that a
aware.
bomber?
And
I think it was the Before 9 bomber.
the Before 9
actually.
bomber, yeah. And they're up there, and some guy's looking through his little telescope, looking down, and he's like, "All right, we're right above him." I'm like, cool, drop it.
huge gust of wind comes through.
Wait, I see wind.
Whoa!
Missouri? I thought you said Oklahoma.
So they missed Missouri, and Granny Applebottom is unfazed by this government coup to overthrow her and her apple monopoly.
Yeah, and her grandchildren lived in Oklahoma. That's why they came
They
out
had to
east
move.
I see.
to go stay on the apple
So we
farm.
we have turned this into one of those films that like canonically explains historical events.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to take this in a completely different direction. So if the government's trying to get rid of her, right?
Okay.
And she develops this super apple that can create super soldiers.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she just go fight the government with her army of super soldiers?
We have turned this into a war film.
No!
It's because it's not perfected yet.
It's fair.
Right,
I'm
she's
talking
still
about
working
the
on
sequel
it.
when
Oh,
she
the
gets it
sequel.
right.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yes, in
Yeah.
the sequel, yes, we can have the untold story of the Apple War that happened inside American borders.
And then eventually it became technological. And
Yes.
that's how Apple, the company, was created.
Right. So then we have another sequel that's like 50 years in the future, and Apple, which is the one grandchild that did survive, creates Apple, and he is Steve Jobs.
Holy shit.
Big reveal at the end of the movie.
Holy shit.
We have a franchise planned.
Wow.
This is gonna be the biggest cinematic universe in history.
It also explains Captain America. Super soldiers?
That's where
Super
they got
Apple?
the serum from.
Yeah, that's
It
where they
was
got the
actually
serum. It's
apple
from the
juice.
apple juice.
And then
Yeah.
Bucky
They
was
just-
accidentally a bad apple that they weren't ready for.
Yeah,
They forgot it was in the batch and they gave it to him.
they gave him the bad apple serum. We're like rewriting it, so like it's our own now.
So it just like doesn't exist.
What's
Yeah.
Because in this
the
world,
law with that, it has to be like
Deri-
80% different. Or
Derivative, I don't know. It's derivative enough, right? It's apple juice instead of super serum, but everything else is exactly the same.
something? Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
what's applesauce?
Apple sauce.
Getting lost in the sauce.
We're gonna get lost in the apple sauce.
Then the sauce gets lost in you because they pump it into your veins.
Yeah, and you become the perfect soldier.
Captain America.
A giant red glowing apple.
Captain Applesauce.
You just roll around crushing people, turning them into sauce.
It's like in Willy Wonka
Yeah.
when she becomes the blueberry,
Yeah.
but he slowly becomes an apple.
And instead of gum, it's applesauce
Delish.
that they inject into your veins.
Great. Okay. Let's
we
go
get back to the-
Let's go back to our first movie in the
Yeah.
franchise.
I think that's a good idea.
So to recap so far,
Yeah, please.
Where are we going? Where
So-
are we?
so
The last 20 minutes.
I don't know.
so the government, so Granny Applebottom is creating this world-renowned Southwest Missouri apple orchard,
Yeah.
and the government is like, no, you can't,
Okay.
because she starts to advertise her super apples
Yeah.
that she's working on.
Yeah.
Government says no. They decide to start the Dust Bowl.
Which comes from because they hadn't made nukes yet, but they were testing. So this
Yeah.
is like one of the test nukes
To just spread dust.
that spreads dust and dries out lands.
And so they missed.
They did miss because they didn't
they didn't
account for
account for the
wind.
They didn't account for the wind.
So it goes a whole state and a half over.
As it does.
As it does.
Got to include air resistance.
So her grandchildren, her 7 grandchildren,
Mm-hmm.
which are named Jimmy, Timmy, Wimmy, Bimmy,
Kimmy.
Kimmy,
That's real.
Stimmy.
Stimmy, and
Wait, did we already say Jimmy?
And John.
and Steve.
And Steve.
Steve.
Steve. Oh yeah. Main character Steve.
Main character, yeah.
And they all move from Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
to Southwest Missouri.
Yeah.
Because of the Dust Bowl.
It's because of the Dust Bowl to
Mhm.
live with Grandma Applebottom,
Mm-hmm.
Granny Applebottom.
As a quick aside, can all the other kids bully Steve for having a dumb name?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what motivates him.
That's a good character trait too, because like you sympathize with him.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Steve is the youngest, right? It's being told from his perspective.
If we're
He's-
setting it up for the third movie being that he starts Apple, yes, he has
He's
to
got to
be
be
the
like
youngest.
-5 years old.
He's but a seedling.
Well, it's because he had a good apple and he's living longer.
Oh
yeah,
he's got. He's, yeah, okay,
Oh.
yeah.
He got one of the first good
He's a
apples.
super soldier.
He's
But
the,
he doesn't know it.
and maybe at the end of the film, they all get turned into their weird 3D animated versions, but he's still 2D animated. He's the only one that finds an actual good
Oh.
apple, and that's what
Mm.
he turns almost into a super soldier, and that's what keeps him living.
Yeah, he just doesn't
Yeah.
know it.
He just doesn't know it. Yeah. So he takes a bite into it, or the granny is like, I finally perfected it, and he's the only one left, so she makes him eat it.
So the climax could be like learning how to make it. Like Steve figures out the secret, like final.
Yeah, there was some
ingredient
missing
for the,
ingredient
for the special
yeah.
apple,
And it was love.
and he like feeds it to the grandma to
Mhm.
turn her back into a normal person at the end.
And then she's like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself to save you because now all the bad apples are trying to attack. And then
Yeah.
she's like, here,
Was the
eat
apples become sentient?
eat this and run.
You'll become a super soldier, Steve.
Yeah. In
That's
It all comes back. All things come back to war and Steve
That's
from
right.
Captain America
That's right.
or Minecraft.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Awesome.
So she's working on her apple serum, her applesauce
Mm-hmm.
to find the perfect apple.
Oh, can it be golden apple too, so that it actually fits into Minecraft lore too?
So 3
A
Steves.
gapple.
Gapple.
3 Steves.
Wow.
The golden apple. And the missing ingredient all along was the 8 gold nuggets that you need to surround the apple with.
But yeah, so she gets the first serum,
Mm-hmm.
the first applesauce up, and she force feeds it to the oldest kid.
Well, because of course she's the grandma, so like they're working all day, but she also has to feed them.
So it's not even force feed, it's
So it's
just
not even
giving
forced.
them
She's
dinner.
just like, here's dinner.
Yeah.
It's like giving the poison to Cusco's
poison.
Cusco's poison.
But
it's
poison
boys.
for Cusco.
Cusco.
Jimmy's applesauce.
The applesauce.
Jimmy's
Or Jimmy. Great. Okay. So yeah, and then they slowly each get turned into these weird robot-esque, like they're not actually robots, but they're very like robotic and like they just work.
Yeah.
They're like drones because it hasn't been perfected yet. So they got the super part in terms of like they can work for a really long time, but it's like corrupted them versus
Completely dehumanizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because the serum amplifies whatever's in you.
Oh, see, the way I thought it was that she doesn't like that they're kids and not working as hard as she
Mhm.
wants. So like this is where like the crocheting comes into it.
Uh-huh.
So she kills them and then like crochets their robot selves. Like she kills them testing the apples on them.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
she replaces them with like the crocheting.
Oh, and so the crochet versions of them are like the drones?
Yeah.
I see. And that's why they're in a different animation style because they're not them.
Anybody got anything? I
Yep.
don't have anything.
So she goes through all the kids,
Mm-hmm.
trying to give them the perfect apple
Mm-hmm.
to make them super soldiers. It kills all of them.
Yep.
She recreates them out of crochet
Mm-hmm.
because she loves crocheting.
She loves crocheting.
And she feels bad. And eventually Steve is the only one left, and he's like, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And
that is a
so
line in the movie.
What the fuck is going on? Yeah.
Little 5-year-old.
negative 5-year-old.
What the fuck is going on?
Well, I mean, once he eats the super apple, like, you know,
He's
basically an
gonna be
adult.
5 for a while.
Yeah.
Oh. He is? He is an adult one?
He becomes buff.
Well, he eats the apple and
Oh,
then
yeah,
he
he
becomes
gets buff. So he's just a buff child. It's like on the Snapchat, like, what are those things called?
The Bitmojis?
No, you know, like when you swipe over to the right and like
Oh,
it gives
the,
you those awful like shows. I think they call them shows.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
the worst
Oh,
things
yeah.
in existence.
Yeah, they are.
And it'll have like pictures of like kids who are like maybe like 5 years old and who's just like fucking ripped.
Yeah. That's exactly like that. Okay, we need to come up with a title and a log line
We do?
for this. Yeah.
Dude, we haven't even figured out like any of the story
We don't
beats.
have motivation.
We don't have actors.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to talk about actors. That's right. Okay, actors. We gotta find actors. We know Steve Jobs is one of them.
Steve, we bring him back from the dead using the apple.
I say there's a problem there.
That's okay. We don't have to use living people. It's also animated,
Yeah.
so it's voice actors.
Voice actors. Yeah.
So who's our grandma? Who's a good granny?
Ooh, what's her name? The mom in Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? I forget.
Perfect.
You got a laptop right there.
Give me a sec.
I can do it faster. We're racing.
I
We're
got
racing.
letterbox up already.
Okay, and then we have to find
No internet. No.
7 kids.
Timothy Chalamet.
Does it really matter who the kid
Toni Collette.
Tom Holland.
Timothy Chalamet, Tom Holland,
Toni Collette.
Bella Thorne.
Bella Thorne.
She
Okay.
can play Kimmy.
Okay, write these down. We're gonna need them in the log line.
Oh, we are.
We always write the characters in
No.
the log line. So we have Timothy Chalamet
Is Jimmy,
as Jimmy,
the oldest.
Tom Holland as
Timmy,
Timmy,
the second
the
oldest.
second oldest.
And then we have Wimmy.
Wimmy,
Who's Wimmy? Who's
Bella
gonna play
Thorne.
Wimmy?
Bella Thorne. She can play Wimmy.
Can we get Taika Waititi in there?
sure,
Taika Waititi plays Steve Jobs.
yeah. Taika
Evil.
Waititi as Steve Jobs.
Oh my God.
And his name, he started off as Steve, right?
Right.
And then because he had to work jobs on the apple farm, that's how he got his last name.
Wow.
He was originally Steve Apple, but then he was such a good worker that they changed his name to Steve.
He got a
Jobs.
name upgrade.
Yeah. Okay, what was our next
We got
character?
3 more children.
Kimmy.
Kimmy.
Played by Victoria Justice.
Stimmy.
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 Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
So one more.
And Steve.
Right? Is that
Steve is
we
our
have
7.
6. We have 6.
Jimmy, Timmy, Wimmy, Stimmy, Kimmy, and Bimmy.
Bimmy. Played by
The Rock.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He's going to have such a man voice for like a 7-year-old.
David Attenborough.
David Attenborough.
David Attenborough narrates the whole thing.
Okay, it's a nature documentary.
He does the commercial voice at the beginning.
Oh, I see. I see.
He's the director of the commercial at the beginning.
Interesting.
Just a little Easter egg for the lore lovers.
We got some lore lovers in the chat.
So this is like a multi-$100 million project.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need
At
a lot,
least.
few popular people.
I'm thinking we're grossing at least $1 billion at the box office.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to see this?
I know, honestly. Who wouldn't want to see this?
I was thinking about a grandpa character because I feel like with the horror element, we have to be in some sort of denial that it's the grandma
Mm-hmm.
that is the person, so it comes as more of a shock that it's the grandma.
So is this like a grizzled World War I veteran grandfather that's like kind of senile or like kind of like scary?
I like that.
He goes out and chops wood at night. And that's scary.
Oh, Bill Murray can play him then.
Yeah, Bill Murray. There you go.
Grandpa Applebottom, played by
No, not actually Bill Murray.
Bill.
Please, dear God.
Murray. J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. Yes. We needed some bald representation in our movie.
We already got Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Double bald
That's
representation.
true. If we really shrink Timothy down again, he might be bald.
That's right. Okay.
Can we go through a few more story beats?
Sure.
So
What do you got in mind?
they get to the place. The grandma starts feeding them apples. She's not sinister at this point, right? Like
Yeah.
she's just thinking, well, she's kind of fucked up because she's testing these apples.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know what's going to happen really on these kids. She becomes bad because she's eating them. They become dead. They become dead.
They become
She
dead.
starts to become like upset by how they're working on the farm, even though it's not really justified because they're kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when she starts replacing them.
Yeah. So they get replaced one by one. What kind of happens in that portion? The part I'm like, we need more stuff on is between when they first get picked off and when there's only one.
Well, I think
remaining.
the way that we build suspense is that they get picked off, but it's not like all at one time. It's like over the course of the second and third act.
Yeah. But is there like new information that we learn?
Maybe through each one we learn a little bit more. I don't know what.
Yeah, I feel like Steve or like one of them gets killed. So Jimmy gets killed first, Timmy Chalamet.
Unbelievable.
And then like the reason that Timmy gets killed next is because he kind of saw some of it. He kind of caught a glimpse of what was. He noticed the sparkles in the applesauce.
Yeah.
You know.
Something about that applesauce looks weird.
And then Granny caught on and was like, "No, you can't know what I'm doing." So she had to take him out.
Right.
And then the next kid sees some, and
then the next kid sees something that's okay.
Yeah.
Because she's a grandma, so like, can't be that discreet. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So each of them sees something that tips them off that something's happening, but then that makes them the next person.
Yeah.
Let me see.
And it slowly, I guess, would give clues to like
Mm-hmm.
what exactly is happening.
You drip feed the clues to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
We do have to imply that the grandpa is somehow behind this.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe he like goes out and collects apples and frequently brings the kids out to do stuff. Maybe Granny like does more of the business part side of things.
Well, it is her apple orchard technically.
Yeah.
So like maybe she runs the actual orchard itself,
Yeah.
and the grandpa like works with the kids like out in the
And
field.
it doesn't even have to be the grandpa character. It doesn't have to be a grandpa, I guess. Is,
And I think if we show her like experimenting on apples right away, everyone's just gonna be like, "Yep, that's the bad guy right there." So maybe instead, she's working on business stuff, and she is just always eating apples.
She's always eating apples, and maybe there's a scene where the grandpa character takes them out to like a different part of the orchard, and he's like, "Yeah, these are the ones we're like trying to breed to like make a new type of apple."
Yeah.
But it turns out the whole time the grandpa had already been killed years ago.
And this was one of the worker drones.
Yeah, but the kids didn't know that because he looks normal because she was less unhinged then.
I see. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
That he's a replacement.
Yeah.
It's like revealed at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
somewhere.
Because he has to go charge
Well,
Yes.
to refill his apple juice reservoirs.
instead of oil, it's apple juice.
He's got to put in some new AA batteries, which stands for Apple.
Apple. Okay. Are there any other story elements you want to talk about?
I think it's pretty good. Climax. He figures it out. They
Yeah.
have to put 8 gold nuggets surrounding the apple, feeds it to the grandma. He goes, "Wah." Just
I want it to be like a
forces it
scene
down her
where
throat.
he has to like forge the perfect apple. So he finds the gold. He has to melt it down.
Yeah.
Like a montage.
Pours on the apple and then starts hitting it with a hammer.
Have you guys seen Mandy by any chance?
I
The
have
Cage
not.
movie? Oh, there was a montage in there where he has to like make an axe.
Yeah.
And I just like immediately thought of that.
That's I want something where it's just like he has to forge this perfect apple, but he's like 5.
I have an idea. Ding,
Okay.
ding, ding, idea bell.
Oh.
So these people out west,
Yeah.
they have to move east because of the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some prospectors out there.
Out west was out west known for
Prospectors.
prospectors.
So they come out, come back east, and they stop at the apple place because it's the only place with apples in like a million miles.
Yeah.
And they leave gold.
And they leave gold. They're like, somehow
'cause-
that ties in with
Because they don't necessarily have like currency money, so they're like, okay, I'll give you this little bit of gold for like a big bunch of apples.
Yeah.
A big bundle that'll get them back to New York or wherever they're going.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. And that's how they collect gold. So they have a bit of it around.
Yeah.
And then that was the secret ingredient all along.
And love.
Gold nuggets
And love.
and love.
Golden love.
We got our name right there.
Gold and love.
Golden love.
Oh,
Golden
golden
love.
love.
Yeah. Like golden delicious or
Golden, yeah.
or yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple name.
Apple name. iPod.
The
The name of the movie. That's the name of the movie. Yeah, let's do.
Okay, so let's come up with a title and a logline. So, we'll do the logline first, and then we'll come up with a title. So, we have. You ready?
Oh. Christ, yeah, I guess. 7.
A grandmother.
A grandmother.
Parentheses. Who's playing the grandmother?
Tony Collette.
Toni Collette. And her 7 grandchildren.
Parentheses.
Parentheses. Timothy Chalamet. Tom Holland.
Wait, why is Timothy Chalamet playing Jimmy and not Timmy?
That's the joke.
Go.
Yeah, come on, Julian. Be too on the nose.
Sorry.
Tom Holland. Bella Thorne. Taika Waititi. Victoria Justice.
Justin
Bieber.
And Dwayne.
And Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Okay, so a grandmother and her 7 grandchildren. Not going to say that. Repeat that again.
Operate
an apple orchard.
An apple orchard.
The biggest
that
apple orchard.
hosts a
Southwest Missouri.
disturbing secret.
That hosts a disturbing secret. Yeah, I like that.
Colon.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a big colon guy.
Colon guy here.
Big,
He's hot
big
shit.
colon guy. I don't know what comes after the colon though. Toilet? Okay,
Maybe no colon, just period. Start the next sentence.
fine. With the host of a disturbing secret. I feel like there's got to be a colon because we got to say what the secret is.
In the log line? I feel like you don't say what the secret is.
Well.
That's why they watch it. Right? I don't know.
We don't have to say exactly what the secret is, but we can say colon like a new breed of apple.
A new
Ooh, I like that.
powerful breed of apple.
Yeah. Each
Is that it?
grandchild must survive a summer at grandma granny
This is terrible. No offense.
at grandma
Granny Applebottom.
Granny Applebottom's apple orchard
Of terror.
of terror.
All right, a grandmother, Toni Collette, and her 7 grandchildren, Timothy Chalamet, Tom Holland, Bella Thorne, Taika Waititi, Victoria Justice, Justin Bieber, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, operate an apple orchard that hosts a disturbing secret, a new, powerful breed of apple. Each grandchild must survive a summer at Granny Applebottom's apple orchard of terror.
It's like an amusement park ride. All right, we need a title.
Title.
Apple Orchard of Terror.
Apple bottom jeans. Oh, can her first name be Jean? Like the granny? Like Granny's real name is first name is Jean?
Jean Applebottom?
Yeah, Jean Applebottom.
Okay, yeah, sure. You have an apple pun?
Hungry for apples?
Question mark?
I'm hungry. Hungry for apples?
Fill your bellies this summer.
Fill your
There you go.
fill your bellies, 7 grandchildren. It's time for summer apples.
Great.
Normal apples.
Yep.
Okay, so is the title "Hungry for Apples"?
That was a joke. Anyone have anything better? That's literally a Rick and Morty reference.
I'm trying to think of like an apple like pun or like a name of an apple. So like something crisp or like something delicious.
Granny Applebottom and the 7 apples. Like a riff off of Snow White and the 7
Yeah.
Dwarfs. Jean Applebottom and the 7 grandchildren. Jean Applebottom and the 7 bad apples.
Gene
Apple-
Applebottoms.
We could just call it Bad Apple
Bad apple.
Bad apple.
or Rotten to the core.
Apple. Rotten to the core.
Rotten to the core. I like that one.
Rotten to the core.
I was gonna say replaceable.
I feel like it needs to
shit.
be like, you know how like you got like Star Wars Episode 1?
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like it needs to be like Rotten to the core,
Episode 1.
Episode
the
1.
Bad Apple or something like, you know?
Bad
Murderous grandma.
Replaces
I
grandchildren with
like-
yarn children.
I like Rotten to the Core. Rotten to the Core, Episode 1, The Bad Apple. I think that's good.
Wait, what is it?
Rotten to the Core, Episode 1, The Bad Apple.
So just to be clear, this is like complete schlock at this point, right?
Well, I mean, it's just we're setting it for a franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure we're all on the same page.
Like we're trying to go like Sam Raimi goofy with this, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right, Julian.
Rotten to the Core, Episode 1, The Bad Apple.
Fantastic. I love it.
Wow.
Great. Awesome. Lovely. Wonderful. Cool.
Spectacular.
Spectacular.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you two for being on the podcast, Bri and Matthew. Is there anything you'd like to promote, either of you?
Z-Tex.
You're promoting me.
Yeah.
Support local businesses. That's all I got.
Okay. Great. Good.
Eat organic.
Yep.
Drink lots of water. Don't get dehydrated.
Yeah.
Get lots of sleep. That's what I got.
Treat your brain well.
Yeah, be kind to yourself.
Made with love.
Just like the yarn children.
Okay. Great. All right. Awesome. Cool.
Audrey, you can cut that.
Thanks for listening and or watching, and see you later. Bye.